Welcome back, my friends. Welcome back. Halloween 2025 is upon us, and nobody is more excited than me, your Halloween-loving host, the Ohio Oak. But before we get to Halloween 2025, I gotta get us through my decoration build this year. Like I mentioned in my last two videos, I have two projects planned for this year's build. One is inspired by my favorite Halloween movie of all time, The Nightmare Before Christmas. And the other one is to start helping me get my yard decorations a little bit more complete. There's a theme that I've been going for the last couple of years, and you'll see what that is. Every year I put a little bit more into it. One, because Halloween decorations cost a lot of money, like everything these days. And two, because I feel that homemade Halloween decorations are the best decorations out there. You can put your own expression, your own soul, your own creativity into those and really bring out some imagination with that. Sure, you can go and you can buy decorations, and I definitely have bought many decorations in my time. But this year, I'm focusing on, I guess, a little bit of both. Of course, you have to buy supplies to be able to build anything. With that, I want to start this year by showing you the process for my two Halloween builds. This year's Halloween build is inspired by none other than the Pumpkin King, Jack Skellington. This character of Jack is such a small part of the movie, but I've always loved it. During the introduction to the movie, you can see Jack as the Pumpkin King ScareCrow with the Halloween town sign above him. And when the wind blows, he kind of points your way towards the town square. And so the inspiration to this came to me last year when I found a certain decoration on a very good sale at Home Depot. So as you'll see, I'm gonna turn that decoration into the ScareCrow Pumpkin King. But I don't just wanna add that decoration to my yard, just have a bunch of random stuff schlepped about looking all weird and just like a dude that spends a ton of money on Halloween to put big decorations up. What I wanna do is continue to incorporate my new Halloween builds into the rest of the theme of my yard. And as you'll see, the other part of my build this year is going to enclose my yard to really help me start to complete my theme. I've been working on this project since last year when I first bought this guy right here. I've had to acquire a few more supplies based on my designs, and that's what you see behind me. I had to get a couple things online, and I also had to stop by Home Depot to pick up a few more things as well. So let me show you what I got, and then I want to walk you through what my build's gonna be. Look at that. That is gonna be perfect. He's gonna be standing up straight, but I need to figure out how to detach his arms and have them pointing straight out like Jack is in the movie. For the support pole for the ScareCrow, what I did was I grabbed 48-inch dual-end aluminum poles. I figured this was going to be sturdy enough, and quite frankly, these were less expensive than buying a wood pole. This is basically the pole you use for a mop. What I'll do is I'll alter these ends so that one will attach to the stakes that I got to secure into the ground, and then I'll attach the Pumpkin King directly to this, along with the Halloween town sign that'll go on the top. I also picked up some 1-inch Schedule 40 PVC, and this is gonna be for the second project that I'm gonna do. This is gonna be for my Halloween fence. I bought 40 total feet, so 4 10-foot sections, and I wanna have this fence to be about 4 feet high. I'm gonna spray paint those black. I'm also gonna spray paint my aluminum pole black, and I think it's gonna give it a really great look. Next up is my bit of chain. These are 5 feet in length. It's just really fun, cool plastic chain. And so each one of the 4-foot sections of pole that I'll spray paint black is gonna be my fence post. And then I'm gonna connect them with the chain. One of the things I like a lot about this is that the chain actually opens up. So if I wanted to remove some links, I can. That's gonna be really cool. The last piece to my fence, I'm gonna top each one off with a skull. I'll probably take one of my hole saws and put a 1-inch hole in the bottom so that this can sit nicely on top, and then I'll just glue it in place because this is gonna stay permanently on that post. So that'll complete the fence. Now, back to the Pumpkin King. This is synthetic thatch roof, and it looks like hay. I guess basically it is hay, but it's all fake, it's all plastic. So I'm gonna make his pants out of this. I'm gonna wrap him around his legs and just turn this into pants, because if you look closely at the image, that's pretty much what he is. I mean, he's a scarecrow, right? He's stuffed with hay. So his pants are gonna be made out of this. And then I got the cheapest, most basic maroon button-up shirt, which I'm gonna have to sew to hem it to get it nice and tight, and then I'm gonna stuff it with more of that hay. So the last piece is to be able to attach the stake to the end of the 1-inch post. And it's a little bit oversized, so I'll probably heat the plastic up with my heat gun and really get this to form inside there, and then get maybe some JB weld to really attach it. But this will be the base. I'll stick this into the ground, and the fence should stick straight up from there. These are 5.3 inches by 0.78 inches. So basically a 3/4 inch top. And that end should fit really nice inside that PVC. And with only 39 days until Halloween and about a week until I start putting my decorations up, last weekend of September, I really gotta get going on this. So step one, I gotta cut these poles to length. I gotta figure out how to get these attached together and get the ends removed, and then work on getting the Pumpkin King's arms to move into place. Come along. Hey everybody, sorry to interrupt. I'll have you back to my rambling shortly. I have some very exciting news. The Ohio Oak finally has its first sponsor. There's a very exciting movie coming out soon, and for some odd reason, they really wanted me, the Ohio Oak, to start getting the word out. It's a very short trailer. Check it out. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you go see the movie. I'll have you back to the Halloween build in just a moment. Spider Dad, does whatever a Spider Dad does. Can he throw things away? No, he can't. I'll definitely use those later. He may use them someday. Look out! He is the Spider Dad. Is he strong? Listen, son. He can eat chips by the ton. Fanny pack, it's a must. It's a place to keep his stuff. Look out! He is the Spider Dad. He's got no rhythm but some rhyme. He gets songs wrong all the time. We don't need no air conditioning. We don't need no birth control. Grabs a beer, drinks it down. Takes a nap watching the Browns. Look out! He is the Spider Dad. Mark your 4-foot line, leave a little nick right there with the marker, and then I'm just using a handsaw to give it the old cutterino. Happy Halloween. My favorite part of Halloween growing up was making decorations with my dad. I still remember this, and I was a little kid. Now, my dad wasn't the handiest man in the world, so he had the help of a friend, but I remember making a coffin. Buying one of those cheap skeletons from the 90s, the ones I still look for, but you just can't find those anymore, and building a cheap coffin that was just one of the highlights of my childhood, because I still remember it. And we were able to make some tombstones as well, just out of plywood, and we set those up every year with a spotlight, and it wasn't much, but my goodness, I still carry those memories with me today. And then my mom making costumes for us. Every year she would make something different. We would just tell her what we wanted to be, or something close to it, whatever she was capable of making, and she would make it for us. And every now and then they used to have costume contests, and we would enter it. And in between my sister and I, one of us would always come away with the prize. And oh, it was so much fun. But I want to know, what was your favorite memory of Halloween growing up? Let me know in the comments. The official Ohio Oak blood seal of every project. Be careful out there, boys and girls. That is gonna work out great. Right, 4 feet on the poles is gonna be a perfect height. So I got the hole in there, fits nice over the pipe. I'm gonna likely use some JB Weld or something to keep this permanently adhered after I paint the pipes and touch these guys up a little bit. I might get some gray spray paint. I just want to make them look a little bit dirtier, maybe less like the boiled skulls from 28 years later. Next up, I gotta get my heat gun out so that I can get that rim right there inside the bottom of this tube. That is in there solid, wow. This is easy. I just took my heat gun, I heated up the plastic till I knew it was malleable, and I just wiggled this in, and if you can tell, see how it kind of left a little bit of a lump there? So the plastic definitely molded around the ring on that spike. I did leave a little bit of a gap because I do want to fill that in with a little bit of JB Weld or even some like putty epoxy. That might work well too. Just to give it a little bit more reinforcement, even though I don't think this thing is going anywhere. So a thought occurred to me, how am I gonna attach this chain to the pole? Yeah, I could zip tie it, and I think that would work just fine. I have black zip ties, you would probably never see it. But what if I could attach it somehow? So I thought, all right, let me get some holes big enough for this chain to fit through. So with a combination of my drill and my Dremel, look at that guy. Perfect. And again, these chains are really cool because they have an opening, and you can remove links if you want to. You can hook them up to poles just like this. So really cool addition. All right, small pivot with the ScareCrow hole. I did lob this top off. I was thinking I could stick the spike straight down in there. I can't. What I came up with was lobbing off a piece of PVC, and that 1-inch PVC I had left over, and then taking this end of the other pole and sticking it in, because this is just about 1 inch, so it fits pretty nice. I heated up that plastic. I tried to form it around the pole. We'll see how that works. Again, I'm either gonna use a lot of JB Weld or some putty epoxy here, but I'm gonna take the opening and just kind of stuff that full and let that harden, and that should be nice and solid, and then I can spray paint those. That was a solid first coat. I'm gonna let that dry, rotate the poles around, get a second coat on that. 2 coats should be good. And then I got a can of some clear gloss protector. It works on wood, plastic, metal, and more. My intent with that is to see if I can get the paint to not scratch. I'm waiting on my fence to dry. Now I gotta start working on my Pumpkin King. The goal here with this guy is to get his arms pointing straight out. So I'm gonna undo the screws on the shoulder joint and see how I can finagle this thing, maybe without cutting the ball off of this, to go this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws, little teeny tiny ones. Thankfully, I had the right screwdriver for the job. Dads always need to collect screwdrivers because you never know when you're gonna need one. It wouldn't be a project of mine if there wasn't something that I didn't do right. It's not that I didn't do something right, I just wasn't thinking far enough ahead, and I'll show you what I mean. I technically have 4, maybe 5 end pieces. So this will be I guess the start or the end of my fence, and then it'll link up from there. So this piece is good to only have 2 holes, 1, 2. Any piece in the middle is gonna need a hole on both ends, because I'll have a chain coming in and I'll have a chain going out. I wasn't thinking that far enough ahead. Quite frankly, it's not that big of a deal. This is a Halloween decoration. The only person who's probably gonna notice it is me, and I've already painted and sealed it, and I just don't wanna cut into this and ruin it, because I wanna move on from this and finish up my ScareCrow. So I'm not gonna fix that this year, but I'll show you what my solution is. So no one's gonna be able to tell once I have this in my yard, but I have this chain link hooked into my holes, and then the chain link that attaches to it is just attached to it. Fence for the most part is wrapped up. Now I gotta keep working on this guy right here. Here's my predicament. If I want to get these arms to stick straight out of that shoulder socket, like Jack from the movie, then I need to cut this ball off. That way I can get this to fit in. It won't fit great because this socket is meant for a larger size ball, but I can work around that. My predicament is I really like this skeleton. I think it's super cool, and I don't see it this year. I got it on super sale. That probably means that Home Depot's not gonna sell it again, which doesn't mean that I couldn't get it. But if I do cut this off, there'll be no more posability with these arms if I decide to not use this decoration again in the future, which happens from time to time. So, let me show you to my patient. What that means is I need to secure this in this orientation to this socket, which, as you can tell, doesn't fit. But the ScareCrow is wearing a shirt. The shoulders are gonna be covered. So this doesn't have to be pretty. I can definitely zip tie the crap out of this thing so it doesn't go anywhere. And I think that's what I'm gonna do. I also think I need to put the shirt on first so I can get this thing on him, because once these arms are stretched out, I'm never gonna get that shirt all the way across. Now I found the cheapest shirt. I found the least expensive shirt. I shouldn't say cheap. Cheap implies poor quality. This actually seems like a pretty quality shirt. Now it did come straight from China, but what textile is made in America anymore? Not many. With the exception of Origin, which is the shirt that I'm wearing, proudly made in America, not sponsored, although I'd like them to be someday. So there we have it. I'll get this zip tied in. Oh, look at that already. Look how neat that looks. As my boy would say, yeah, baby. Come on, you. I think this is gonna serve me perfectly. Look at how neat that is. This is like a 12-inch roll with the hay on top. So I can cut this and manipulate it how I need, and that's pretty much how I'm gonna make his legs. I'm gonna wrap it up like this and put it over both of his legs, which will give me the same effect from the movie. All right, that's the best angle I can get in my small garage with the lens that I have. But here's my standing behemoth, and really easy to get him attached to the pole itself. I just drill holes into the pole and then attached it with zip ties. And of course it's a skeleton, so I can wrap around his spine, I can wrap around the rib cage. I was able to get that nice and secure, especially the connection point. I don't know if it's gonna hold, to be determined. If it doesn't, I'll figure something out. I'll just fix it on the fly. For now, it works. Now I need to get his shirt hemmed, and I gotta work on building his pants out, and then getting hay stuffed in the body. I don't know a ton about sewing. What I do know, I learned from watching YouTube, which is where I learn pretty much anything that I don't know much about. What I did learn, and I always make strong, I always try to do this as strong as I can because I'm rough on everything I touch, is I double up my thread. I like needles with the big eye because it's hard for me to fish the thread through the eye. And then I always get really strong thread. This is 100% polyester. What I did was I made I guess you could call it a cuff. See, I don't even know what it's called. Kind of like what tuxedos used to look like, or like the fancy tuxedos that you would see on old-time movies and whatnot. But I'm just trying to mimic what his shirt looks like in the movie. So I did one stitch going down. I'm going to double that back up to make it strong. And then I'll do this side. And then I'd like to maybe tighten the back up. So I'll probably just take a bunch of that fabric and like roll it up, bunch together, make the seam nice, and then stitch that up as well. Don't know what I was thinking. I could have just cut the shirt to where I needed it to be. The front, actually, I really like the way the front turned out because it still kind of gives it a little bit of that tuxedo-y collar, lip. I don't know what it's called on a suit jacket. Either way, I've cut the back of the shirt in a V, and I'm going to stitch it down the middle, and it's going to make it nice and tight, nice and snug against the body, and I'm still going to get that like wavy look on the bottom. I like the way that looks. I think that's really good. I was gonna go a little bit farther down on the back of the tails, but I like that. I think it's really good. It gives it a nice look in the front too. It's got those little flaps, you know, the front tails. I'm gonna sew up the arms to make those tighter. I really think this is gonna be pretty easy. I'm just gonna wrap them around his legs like this. Yeah, that'll be cool. I was seriously overthinking the legs on this skeleton. I tried to sew them. It was just gonna be too much. I tried to staple them. The staples didn't work. I just settled on zip ties, and these are working out really great. I'm wrapping this hay mat around the leg, and then I'm just zip tying it in like 3 spots. I'll cut this down here at the foot, and I'll still have a good bit left over to be able to try to make some sort of pants for him. I don't know what that's gonna look like just yet. I'm gonna get to that, but the zip ties are working out just fine. Let me get some more zip ties on him.
What's zip ties?
It's a little tie that Daddy uses to tie things. Zippily. I have a few updates. They're all good. The 14-inch zip ties work perfect. It's also the only size that I really have. I just wrapped it nice and tight around that leg and then zip tied it, but I made sure that the hay itself was pulled over. You can't see the zip ties, right? And there's so much hay here that it doesn't make any difference at all. I took a little bit of hay, I cut a strip off, I stuck it up there, the collar covers the rest. I think it looks really cool. Adds a nice little added dimension to that hand. I think the big thing here is that I finished the legs. And I love, love, love the way they look. And if you can tell right here, just like the Scarecrow from The Nightmare Before Christmas, if you look really close, you can see he's got like rope wrapped around his leg, keeping the hay in place. Did the same image here, and I love it. I love the way it looked. I think it's so cool. My only hang up right now is what to do with the pelvis. I think I'm gonna leave it open. I mean, he's a really cool looking skeleton. I debated like wrapping some of that twine around there. I couldn't really figure out a good way to get that hay made into like a pair of pants. I think I keep him half skeleton and then part Scarecrow. I'm not even gonna mess with his chest either. I wanna keep him as is. The last thing I need to do for this project is work on the Halloween sign. The cool part is just gonna be like cutting some of those jagged edges like you see in the sign. There we have it, my Halloween Town sign. Very simple, very easy. I included holes on the top and the bottom. I'm probably just gonna zip tie this thing on. I'm gonna give this a quick little sand to kind of cut down on some of these edges and then paint it. After that, I'm gonna paint Halloween Town. Just as I hoped it would turn out. Oh, I love it. Love it, love it, love it. I have a couple of things that I want to address that I just plain up forgot to film. Let me show you. So my pole idea wasn't exactly working. So what I wound up doing was basically making a cast. And it's not the prettiest thing, that's why I spray painted it black, but it also gets hidden behind the ScareCrow. And I think as my abilities grow on making more Halloween projects, I'll be able to figure out a better solution for this pole. I just cut a piece of that PVC plastic in half, and I basically made a cast that I zip tied around the pole in the center where the two poles are connected. That worked out really well, it's really strong. Then what I did for the base here, after I got the PVC molded on, I wound up packing it full of JB Weld epoxy putty, and it's incredibly strong, and this thing isn't going anywhere. So between the stake in the ground and the top of this tube, I have it packed really well full of putty, and it is completely solid. And now back to the crazy ramblings of some dude who really loves Halloween. I remember when this one was delivered and Mrs. Oak came outside and she goes, "What the fuck is that? Why are you buying more Halloween things?" And I said, "Mrs. Oak, because it was on sale and it's going to be awesome and I know exactly where to put it next year." The basket is 100% removable, so for some of my decorations, which you're going to see here in just a second, I can just hook the nylon strap around them and lower them down to the ground. Easy. All right, time to move back into the depths of my attic. Now, what do I have up here? Bag of skeletons. Oh! Oh! Holy shit. I should have worn gloves. Oh, gosh. Well, at least it's dead. This has been here for a while. Huh. Ugh. Still stinks. If you're thinking to yourself, Oak, what in the world is this? And that attic space of yours is either gigantic or you've pulled off the most epic clown car of Halloween decoration storage. And it's definitely the latter. And you'll find out here shortly. And just like that, Halloween 2025 is a wrap. There are a few things that I want to address that I either forgot to film during the episode or just forgot to bring up with all the excitement of getting Halloween out. The first thing, I didn't wind up painting the skulls on the fence. The more I thought about it, the more I thought it really isn't necessary. And at the same time, I was also starting to run out of time because I really wanted to get that fence up to then start putting my yard around it. The other thing is the stakes for the fence. I got like 5.3 inch stakes. They work because the fence isn't that heavy, but they're not great. They kind of wobble around a little bit, even after I really drive them into the ground. But if I could do it again, I would definitely get bigger stakes. Now at the time, I couldn't find anything bigger. I'm sure if I looked in the right spot, I'd be able to do that, but it still works just fine if you can't find bigger stakes. If you can, I go a couple more inches bigger. And finally, I just want to thank you so much for stopping by the shop today. I'm John, aka the Ohio Oak. Please do me a favor, if you had fun or took anything away from this episode, please hit that like button, subscribe, share, comment, share it with your friends. It really helps me out in growing out this channel. All I ask is that you be safe, be creative, don't lose a finger while doing so, go out into the world, make it a better place, and don't forget, to make today great.